Champions League is finally back. We are done with the first round of matches, man. Listen, there's been some really good games. I can't even lie. There's been some really good games, some good football from a couple of the teams. Obviously, of course, PSG, the champions of last season, probably the best team in the tournament, or for last season anyway. Obviously themselves getting off to a brilliant start in the competition. It's going to be interesting, man. I don't know. When it comes to Champions League, I don't really like to, try and guess. Oh yeah, I think this team's going to win. I think that team's going to win. I do find that part kind of difficult, just because you don't really know when it does come to the Champions League. I mean, you see the last couple of winners. Obviously, it's been PSG last season. Then you had Madrid, City, Madrid, Chelsea, Bayern, Liverpool, Madrid 3 times in a row. Obviously, Barcelona in there, Madrid again. I mean, these guys are serial winners, man. So, yeah, I don't know this season. For me, obviously, you've got the bait ones. Of course, you got Liverpool, PSG, Real Madrid, Manchester City, Arsenal, Bayern Munich, and then who knows, man, there might be a couple of dark horses in there. I can't lie. I do feel like there will probably be a couple of dark horses who might be able to get themselves to the quarterfinals, finals. Obviously, it all depends on in terms of who they're able to get and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that one's going to be interesting to see. But yeah, I don't have an actual favorite at the moment. I usually don't really pick a favorite until like after, when we get to January, February period, when we kind of resume again. I think that's when teams really start to kick in, as we saw again with PSG last season. But we've seen it even with Real Madrid. I mean, I've seen them struggle through when we had the old format. I remember they were struggling through some of the group stages and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden, poof, you know what I mean? They you know what I mean? Like 3 in a row. Like it's mad. It's mad. So yeah, man, I think I don't have a favorite. I think all the top teams are on the same level in terms of who I think could potentially win it. So I'm not going to put myself out there and say, yeah, I think this team can win it. I think that team can win it. I do think maybe we will have another team who hasn't won the Champions League potentially winning it. But yeah, again, I don't know. I really don't know, man. I think it could go either way. It really could go either way. As I mentioned before, obviously we had some good little matchups, man. I mean, of course, we had the Newcastle Barcelona, Newcastle back in the Champions League this season. Manchester City versus Napoli. Obviously, Kevin De Bruyne coming back, to the Etihad Stadium. Obviously, we had Liverpool versus Atletico Madrid. Well, on paper, it was probably going to be a boring game, so to speak, because we kind of thought that, Atletico Madrid in terms of the way that they play and stuff like that. Obviously, Arsenal, early kickoff against Athletic Bilbao. Juventus, Dortmund. I mean, on paper, I thought that would have just been a calm game. Obviously, we'll get to that. We'll get to that game very, very soon. PSG, as I mentioned before, against Atalanta. I thought that would be a good game, to be fair. And obviously, Bayern Munich versus Chelsea. So there were a few good games in there, man. A few good games. So yeah, man, big up to all the teams, of course, participating in the tournament first and foremost. Listen, if you're here, yeah, I mean, you've done well. You've done well to get yourself, into this kind of position. So yeah, man, I have to just big up, all of the teams, man. Obviously, this isn't in order or anything like that, so it's just gonna run through whatever order I kind of put them in. Arsenal, as I mentioned before, the early kickoff against Athletic Bilbao 2-0. Martinelli and Trossard, I believe they came off the bench to get those goals. Listen, I watch Arsenal, and listen, they're not the most exciting team. I will tell you that for free. Arsenal fans can tell you that they are, but I don't believe that they're that exciting to actually watch. But you see defensively, Jesus, yeah, they look like they're not giving up many chances. Do you know what I mean? Like it really does have to be a wonder strike in order for you to kind of, get a goal against these guys, because they don't look weak defensively. I'm not saying you can't, like, and even the strongest teams out of like Chelsea still conceded 15 goals in that season. So clearly you can score against these kind of teams, of course, but they're making it very, very difficult, very, very difficult. And I think, tournament football, I think that might suit Arsenal a lot better because of the style of play that Arteta kind of has. I think it's more geared, in my opinion anyway, towards that kind of football. But again, listen, it's just one of those, and it really is just one of those. So we'd have to kind of, wait and see in regards to that one. But listen, look, 2-0 victory away from home against Athletic Bilbao. who are a decent team, by the way, did really well to, get themselves into the Champions League last season, or this season, should I say, sorry. So yeah, man, I think for Arsenal fans, they probably just looked at it and thought, yeah, you know what, this is a really good, good little victory, away from home, tough game. Do you know what I mean? Tough fixture. So yeah, I think they'll be quite happy. Over to the North London rivals, we've got Spurs 1-0 against Villarreal. Early goal in that game. Yeah, it wasn't the best of games. I'll be honest with you. And again, I've not watched. I think I've only watched Liverpool game, Barcelona game, and the rest I've just seen highlights. So I'm not here to give you any in-depth analysis in regards to the games like that, unless I've actually watched them. But yeah, I think from what I saw of this game, anyway, yeah, it just looked like wasn't the greatest of games. Didn't really have too much, in my opinion, really going on. But again, Tottenham back into the Champions League. That they would be extremely happy to be able to start off with a victory as well. Well on their way under Thomas Frank as well. And I think Thomas Frank again is another good manager. Plays some really good football. So for them to get that victory, yes. Could it have been better? Yes, I do think it could have. But ultimately, for them, where they're at this current moment in time, I think just get the victory, and then you're able to move on. You're able to move on. On to Madrid, Kylian Mbappe. I think, what is it now? Is it 50 goals in 64 games? I'm sure that's what he's got. Could be wrong, and apologies if I am to the Real Madrid fans out there. He is ridiculous. And I just found it funny, the disrespect that people were putting on someone like Kylian Mbappe, last season, and then of course heading into this season. Now, Real Madrid were not good last season. I will definitely say that. But he's on 50 goals like already in only 64 games. I think he's the second fastest Madrid player to get to 50 goals, only behind Cristiano Ronaldo. That should maybe tell people something. Did you get what I'm trying to say? Like, I think it's the quickest since 2010. Obviously, context is Ronaldo was obviously still there past 2010. So, there wasn't that many new players kind of coming in and scoring goals. But ultimately, for him to kind of get that record already. And you know what? I'm watching him this season in a couple of the games I've watched. I watched a bit of this game, to be fair. And I'm watching him, obviously, under Xabi Alonso, new manager, new kind of style of play. He wants them to press, which is what they were doing, to be fair, in that game against Marseille, up against, Roberto De Zerbi, who a manager I really, really like. I really think his style of play and his football is really, really good. But, ultimately, you come up against this kind of quality. They did get a dubious penalty, which, in my opinion, wasn't a penalty for their second goal. But listen, it got given, so we kind of moved. But they were pressing. Do you know what I mean? They were harassing, and you need to do that against the Roberto De Zerbi side, because if not, De Zerbi's team, Marseille, they were popping the ball about. Greenwood, I thought, played really well, in the game in itself. Again, it's the move. This is what I talk about, and we'll talk about it soon when we get to certain teams later on down the line. But when you're watching certain teams, sometimes it's just a little bit of movement that can just change things around, for you. And I think that's kind of what happened, in my opinion, anyway, with Real Madrid. They really knew that they were going to be, working extremely hard. And I think when I look at them, I think to myself, could be peak if Xabi Alonso gets this team playing the way that he had Leverkusen playing. Because if he does, could be problematic, man. Could be problematic. Now, onto this game. I mean, this game, Juventus versus Borussia Dortmund, 4-4. This match was mad. I looked at the game at halftime, and remember I said before the game, I thought, oh, this should be kind of a decent game. Obviously, I didn't watch it; I just watched the highlights. So I come to the second half now. I look at it and I'm like, oh god, it's only 0-0. I said, bloody hell, yeah, this ain't one of them games I need to care about. Then when you're watching a game, but the notification keeps coming up, right? Goal here, Dortmund there, Juve here, Dortmund there, Juve here, Dortmund there, Juve here, Dortmund. I said, what the fuck is going on? I have to tune into the game. I had to watch some of the game because I said it's absolutely ridiculous, man. Yildiz, who is a star in the making. I think he really is a star in the making. Really, really good player. He's called absolutely brilliant. I'll be honest, actually. Let me not even just say Yildiz. Every goal I felt was a good goal. Like, it was a game of just good goals. Poor defensively at moments, but some of the goals were so good. I was like, I mean, you can't even stop that. Hey, do you know what I mean? Like, I felt a bit sorry for the goalkeeper on both sides, to be honest with you, some of the goals. But yeah, very entertaining game. Vlahovic obviously getting the goal in the 94th minute. He's a player that I've spoken about before when I was doing the Euro Club series, and yeah, I don't really rate him. I really don't. But who knows? This season might be a season where he can just get himself back up to the kind of level that I thought he was at prior to last season. But last season was really, in my opinion, a poor season. But then again, it was a poor season for Juventus, so I'll give a tad bit of a blight, so to speak. But yeah, like I say, man, hopefully this season he'll be able to, do his thing for Juventus. On to Bayern Munich versus Chelsea. Yeah, I think, you know what, this game was a game, yeah, and big up Chelsea because I like Chelsea. But this was a game where I was like, yeah, you needed to be taught a lesson. And I think they were taught a lesson. I think Bayern Munich were easily the superior team in this game. You could see that there was a level, even in the little bits that was going, yes, they scored a penalty, own goal, blah, blah, blah. But it was just, you can see the quality on the pitch. The Michael Elise's, even, I mean, Luis Diaz all of a sudden looks like this flipping top winger, all look like out of nowhere. Of course, they got, probably the best, if not second, third best, or top three striker in world football, shall we say, in Harry Kane in there as well. But Elise, he was the one I really looked at in this game. And I said, yeah, you're on some serious smoke. Like, you're giving Cucurella some real problems. And Cucurella is he's one of the best left backs, in my opinion, in Europe. So to give him trouble, yeah, that's definitely saying something. But yeah, listen, look, Cole Palmer getting himself a goal in the game. Again, another top player. I mean, Chelsea got top players, don't get twisted. But I just think that when you're watching, when you've got the likes of like Gnabry, Musiala, obviously we know is injured, Elise, Harry Kane, you've got Luis Diaz on the left. Like, yeah, it starts to get a little bit, it's only really defensively I looked at Bayern, and I thought maybe Chelsea could get at, someone like Bayern Munich, but they just weren't really able to, in my opinion, really get that much into the game. I'll be honest. Like, I didn't really look at the game and think, yeah, Chelsea are in the game like that. I kind of felt you're in the game because of the score, because the scoreline allows you to be. But if Bayern just turned it up a little bit, yeah, it would have been absolute curtain. So yeah, it was in the end 3-1 to Bayern Munich, off to a really, really good start. Chelsea not so great. So yeah, Chelsea are going to be definitely looking towards their next game, hopefully looking to, get that W. All right, Liverpool, 3-2, another late goal from Liverpool, man. I mean, yeah, listen, look, I've spoken about this quite a lot in regards to Liverpool. Um, I don't know how long this can continue. I don't know what Liverpool have done. I don't know what type of judge that they've been able to bang, because yeah, it's just getting ridiculous. Every game just seems to be late goal, late goal, late goal, late goal. Do you know, 92nd minute? Like, what's going on, man? What's going on? Listen, look, Liverpool, listen, they go 2-0 up. You kind of thought, okay, yeah, Liverpool can kind of, see out the game. And I think that's probably, that's probably one thing I look at with Liverpool at the moment, is that their game management is extremely poor, for whatever reason, whether it's tactically, whether it's because of the players, I don't know. But you allowed, and the thing is, Atletico Madrid, in my opinion, never really looked out of the game. Yes, Liverpool could have scored more goals, definitely could have, but they didn't look out of the game, within that kind of context, in terms of, obviously, if you don't score the goals, all right, but do you still look like, the opposition, even if you don't score the goals, the opposition can still look like, bro, they're never, like, a bit like the Newcastle-Barcelona game. Like, Newcastle never really looked like scoring after Barcelona had kind of scored. So, yeah, but Atletico Madrid didn't really look like, oh my God, yeah, we're 2-0 down inside the first, 6-7 minutes of the game. And then, what's going to happen from here? Is it going to be 5? Is it going to be 6? Once they kind of settled into the game, you saw, again, quality on the ball, the movement from that midfield, creating those overloads in those wide areas. It was really, really a good performance, I think, from Atletico Madrid. They'll be, in my opinion, Bobby a bit annoyed that they obviously didn't get the point in the end. I think Liverpool probably edged it, but they, obviously, context of the game, I would say Atletico Madrid probably looked at that and thought, we could have potentially have, nicked something here, but it is what it is. We go away to the next game. So yeah, Liverpool live to see another day, should I say? Sorry. Do definitely need to improve the performances. I think that, again, we can talk more about that another time, but the performances aren't really that good at the moment in time, but they're getting the victories. So the hope is that at some point the word everyone keeps saying clicks, right? It clicks into gear, and once it clicks into gear, then yeah, Liverpool will be calm because they've already picked up the points. So now we're playing good football and still picking up, those points. But we'll have to wait and see. I mean, Atletico Madrid haven't had a good start to La Liga season. So probably for them, they're probably thinking this could have been a game to really get a scalp, nick a point from Liverpool at Anfield, and then maybe they can kickstart their own season in La Liga because they've not really been playing that well. But listen, man, it is what it is, and we live to fight another day. The champions, PSG. All I'm going to say about this year, 4-0 against Atalanta, right? But all I can realistically say is when I talk about movement, the first goal, Marquinhos. What's Marquinhos doing in the box like that? And by the way, listen, it probably was accidental and stuff because they were pressing when he scored that goal. They were pressing Atalanta. They nicked the ball back, and it's again quick football, quick, neat football. Marquinhos stick goes, and he gets himself the goal, and it's just movement. Mendes, Hakimi, Vitinha, Kvaratskhelia scored a really good goal in that game as well. Like, it's just movement. I don't know how many times I can stress this to people, but when your team moves the ball fast, and when I say fast, let me just say quickly, actually. When the team moves the ball quickly, I promise you, it's just different, man. It's like a breath of fresh air. Do you get what I'm saying? And it also doesn't allow for the opposition to be able to get themselves back into, kind of shape. And I think, again, looking at PSG, it's just a start. So it's only the first game, but they look strong. They look strong, man. Like, I can't even look at them and think, oh, God, yeah, they look like how they're going to be able to go on this. They look strong, man. Got some very, very, very good players in their team. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they kind of do, moving forward. Bayern Leverkusen, man. Bayer Leverkusen. Yeah, they're a funny old bunch. So you obviously your ex-manager obviously moves to Real Madrid. Fairs, obviously there's nothing you can realistically do about that. Then your new manager that you do get in, you then sack him within the first like 2-3 games of the season. It's mad. They're definitely, and obviously, and on top of that, you lose your best players in the team that you had when you did go unbeaten in the league. It's mad. It's mad. I think they're gonna have a tough time this season. I think just more in the case of just adjusting. I'll be honest with you. I mean, 2-2 against Copenhagen here, but yeah, I'm obviously decent goals in the game, but yeah, I'm just looking at that and I'm thinking, I don't know, man. They're going to be one I'm going to watch, and I think they're going to need to be one of those teams who just qualify and then make it through to the next round and then see what you can kind of do from there. Because I just don't think at this early stage of the season, at the moment, with everything that's kind of gone on so far with Leverkusen, and it's just not really seeming like it's really there. And again, like I said, you when you lose your best players, I do expect you to, I do expect there to be some level of drop off. And obviously, the players that you're replacing them with, obviously, are not of the level of the guys who have left. I get that, but yeah, they're going to need to start clicking into some kind of gear at some stage. Do you know what I'm saying? Because at the moment, it just doesn't really look that good. Defensively, they don't look that good. In my opinion, the games that I've seen, I think I watched one of their games this season in the Bundesliga. And yeah, I just don't look at them and think, yeah, you don't look that solid, I'll be honest with you. But again, that was under Erik ten Hag. So I'll be, let's see what happens next. Let's kind of see, how they kind of move. Club Brugge, man. Club Brugge 4-1 against Monaco, man. Ansu Fati obviously getting his goal. I think goal on his debut. But 4-1. I mean, Club Brugge, we saw them last season, man, and they were a good team. They were one of those teams that you looked at and thought, you know what, like, if you get the right kind of draw and you know what I mean, you can pattern in a certain kind of way, you can maybe, do you know what I mean, push yourself through. And they've started this one house on fire. Absolute house on fire. They're a good team, man. They're a good team. I don't know much about their team. So I'm not going to sit here and lie and try and be like, yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I can only really base it off of what I saw in the Champions League last season. But Champions League last season, they play good football. They have some good little players within there. And this season, again, starting really, really strong. So I think it's going to be an interesting one with them. Again, I don't know what their fixtures are like, to be fair. So for all I know, this is the only game that they win in this entire tournament. But ultimately, I think they're a team that you just look at and think, don't butt them. First of all, you don't want to butt them at their place because they seem to really like playing at home. But also, they're a team that can catch certain teams off guard. So if you're not careful, they will catch you. and Monaco found out very quickly, they will catch you. I did hear about Monaco, and they had some issues getting into the game and or getting to the stadium, actually, to be fair, prior to the game. I think, was it something to do with their plane or their jet or whatever it is that they took down to Belgium, and there was a problem there. So yeah, I don't know if that played a part in that, but either way, they got popped off. Like, they were rubbish. They were honestly rubbish. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one for Monaco as well this season. As I mentioned, Ansu Fati getting himself a goal, but I think, again, they're another team that I look at and just think, yeah, just, what you need a few games maybe to kind of get your stride into this kind of tournament. It's difficult because of the teams that you might potentially face. There's a lot of dark horses. There's a lot of good players in some of these teams as well. You almost want to face certain teams and hope for the best, almost, kind of thing. But sometimes it doesn't always work out like that. So you'd have to just kind of wait and see, man. But on to Benfica. Yeah, Benfica against Qarabag. Big up Qarabag. I saw the goals in this game. I saw it at 2-0, and I saw the notification pop up. I was like, yeah, man, Qarabag. Like, when you don't even think, I wasn't even paying attention to it. I just said, oh, yeah. Like, I expected Benfica to win the game anyway, so I'm not even surprised. Come back to see 3-2. I said, nah. And then obviously Benfica sat their manager. Now they're getting Jose Mourinho back. They probably need him for this Champions League campaign. You know what I mean? He's a guy who knows how to win this tournament. Won this tournament, obviously, with Porto. He's won it with Inter Milan as well. Don't think he's won it with Madrid, if I can remember correctly. So yeah, he might be looking to potentially help Benfica. Obviously, they got knocked out last season to Barcelona. So yeah, this might be something that they're going to desperately need. Jose Mourinho obviously wanted to get back into football. But yeah, in regards to this game, Qarabag, listen, they played pretty okay, though. That's the thing. When I saw the game, yeah, and again, these matches, by the way, I'm watching. The ones I don't watch, I watch extended highlights if I can. So yeah, can't tell you where, but they're extended highlights. So there's like 7-8 minutes, some of them 10 minutes as well. So yeah, when I was watching this one, I said, they're not even playing dead. They're not a team that I looked at and thought, and again, I don't know anything about Qarabag. Don't know nothing about them, nothing whatsoever. Don't know any of their players, none of that. But yeah, that Leandro Andrade, yeah, I thought he looked okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, they had a couple guys in there. And who's the guy that is it Kashuk? Kashuk, yeah, I think he's the one who scored their third goal, obviously, with the celebration. And you know what I'm saying? Like, he looked like they got something a little bit about them. Again, this is just the first game. So not really getting gassed on anybody at the moment. I need to see what you're like, game week 6, when it's really like, oh, we need to grab a victory. But listen, if they can go to Benfica and get a win, let's see. Let's just see. Inter Milan versus Ajax. Inter 2-0. Marcus Thuram with the 2 goals. This was a professional performance, I think, from Inter Milan. I didn't feel again, can't speak for the full game in context, but I didn't feel watching the game that Inter Milan were like in major problems. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't look like a game where they're like, oh yeah, like, it just looked professional. It looked calm. It looked good. They just kind of came in and out, did their thing. Bob's your uncle, kind of thing. So yeah, man, big up to Inter Milan. And again, obviously, of course, getting to the final last season, getting absolutely boxed by PSG in that final. They're going to be looking to potentially do one better. Whether they can or not, I don't know. But Inter Milan don't really concede goals, as we saw last season, up until like the semi and the final against, obviously, Barca and PSG, 2 teams who will score against every team in Europe, kind of thing. They weren't really conceding goals like that. They really don't, especially in this kind of stage. So I expect them to be one of the lowest in terms of like conceding goals anyway in this tournament. So yeah, again, watch out for that when it does come to that. Slavia Prague versus Bodo Glimt. 2-2. 2-2. Decent game, man. Decent game. 2 teams I never watch. So this was just one of those games you're just like, oh, let's just see what the goals are saying. Let's see if there was any real style of play and stuff like that. Obviously, listen, look, going 2-0 up from Slavia Prague, like, to then obviously then lose it late, in the 90th minute. Yeah, it's gonna hit them hard. And I think these are the kind of 2 teams I'm looking at, and I'm like, yeah, I expect you to finish quite low down in the table. You may get a couple of good games here and there potentially, but yeah, I feel like they're going to be 2 teams that are going to finish relatively low down, in my personal opinion. Olympiacos versus Pafos. Look at that, David Luiz, 0-0 this game. It's weird that this game was 0-0 because I looked at that and I thought Olympiacos would have got the victory. I really did. They're at home as well. I did expect them to get that victory, but ultimately they didn't. So yeah, again two other teams I do think they'll be also down there, further down the table, and then PSV versus USG. Yes, Alexis McAllister brothers team. um, PSV, weird one. I did not expect them to lose 3-1. And I am looking at PSV and I'm thinking, if you're not careful, you're going to be one of them teams that, will probably get eliminated, man. I really do look at them and think, don't really see it with them yet. I really, really don't. And the fact that he lost 3-1 against USG, that's no disrespect to USG. They played well in the game from what I saw. Good goals as well. McAllister, as I mentioned before, getting on the score sheet. But yeah, PSV, they need to sort something out. They need to sort something out. I don't know. There's something about them when I watched them. I said, yeah, you lot need to be careful because you'll get embarrassed in these kind of competitions by many a team. Do you know what I'm saying? You're on the face carable. do you get what I'm trying to say? Like you really, really, really don't. So yeah, we'll wait and see, of course, when it does come to them. Manchester City, as I mentioned before, KDB returning to the Etihad. Obviously, Nappy had a man sent off, so KDB, Conte then took off KDB in the game to obviously try and get back into shape. Haaland again, I think he's now got his 50th goal in the Champions League. This guy is fucking elite. He's too elite, man. Too elite. Doku as well, getting on the score sheet. Is Doku? I mean, start adding some goals to your game. All of a sudden, Doku just looks like a bit of a different kind of player. Do you get what I'm saying? And I think Doku's actually made a decent start to the season anyway. Like in terms of his performances, from what I've seen of him so far this season, good game against Manchester United. Obviously, good game here against Napoli as well. Had obviously a good game. In other games that Manchester City have actually lost, and I've actually looked at him for, you know what? He's not even been dead though. I've not looked at him and thought, oh, you're dead today, like kind of thing. But who knows? Who knows? This could just be the start, for someone like Doku. Listen, you see Rashford. Everyone thought, yeah, you know what? Barcelona coming to St. James's Park. Let's create this atmosphere. Let's try and make it like a Premier League game. Yada, yada, yada. I said, bro, don't worry about that. Don't worry about Barcelona. They're my G's. You don't need to worry about them, bro. And it's so funny. It's so funny and fitting that the guy who scores and wins them the game is the guy who plays in the Premier League anyway. Do you know what I'm like? It was mad. It was mad. Listen, look, Newcastle huffed and puffed in that first half, right? And big up to them because they should have scored. They really, really should have. I think they at least two, in that first half. But I always felt like, even again, a bit like Atletico Madrid against Liverpool, right? I always felt like when I was watching them, it's like you don't like when the opposition looks like they're going to score goals and they keep missing and stuff like that, right? Usually the opposition team, they kind of start to panic and then they will concede the goal. That's usually kind of how it happens. They usually then concede the goal because it's like everything's all over the gaff, a bit like Atletico Madrid. You concede that first goal, then everything you're not really set. Everyone's gasping for air and then Liverpool hit you again with another goal. Do you get what I'm saying? And then it takes you a minute, depending on your own quality, how you can get back into that game. But when Newcastle weren't scoring, I even said it in the group chat. I said, yeah, I feel like it's gonna just be one of those where Marcus Rashford. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and guess what? Marcus Rashford, good. I mean, both of the goals, excellent. But the first one was a header. First one was a cross into the box, header, beautiful header into the net. But you see the second goal from Rashford, that was mad. That was mad. It was mad. It was mad. It was mad. Man clattered the ball so hard. It, like, Nick Pope shouldn't even have bothered diving. He should have just been like, you know what, just leave that one. Do you know what I'm saying? Just chalk that one L. Because now the highlight reel gonna look mad. You know what I'm saying? If Marcus Rashford takes a picture of that and blows it up and puts it in his house, and that's gonna look crazy. Because you know what I'm saying, how far out I was in the first place when I took that shot. Yeah, it's all mad. It was an absolutely beautiful goal. Before I talk about the two players that I'm going to talk about in 2 seconds, big up to Koundé, by the way. I think he's an absolutely top right back. Like, again, He weren't even getting that much help from Rafinha down that side, but it didn't even look like that bothered him. I'll be real, like he didn't look like he was stressed or anything at all. He just kind of said, "Yeah, I'm here to do my job. Here to do my job. I'll defend that 2v1s." Yeah, he was calm with that. He's got the pace. He's got the strength. Like it really weren't bothering him. It really did not. Like I didn't look at Harvey Barnes and think, "Yeah, you can get." Nah, man. Koundé versus Harvey Barnes. I feel like that's even a mismatch. I felt like that was even a mismatch. And obviously the two players. Listen, look, I don't want to spend too long on them, but you see Pedri and De Jong. Yeah, yeah. Just leave that one. Just leave that one. Just leave that one, man. Pedri is yeah. Just leave that one. And De Jong is yeah. It's all long. All I'm saying to anybody is just stop comparing your midfielders to these guys. Just leave it. I don't care if you play Barcelona and you beat them. Your midfielders are still not better than these guys. There is none. There is Pedri anyway. You can maybe De Jong if you want to, whatever. That's up to you. I'm not going to argue that one. But you see Pedri, there is not one midfielder on the planet right now who's better than this guy. There isn't one. And I'll be real, there's none that's even close to him anyway. I don't care if you want to throw in Caicedos, the Rices, the Gravenberches, like whoever else, Trumani's, Valverde, like Vitinha, like he's a level, like he's on a different level, bro. He's just on a different level completely. Elite midfielder, you know. Ridiculous, ridiculous, ridiculous. Yeah, so Galatasaray lost 5-1. Lost 5-1 against Frankfurt, man. 5-1 against Frankfurt. That's mad. That's actually mad. That's actually mad from Galatasaray. Very disappointing game for them. But big up to Frankfurt for getting that victory. 5 goals as well at home. Definitely a brilliant way to start off. And is that last but not least? Yes, Sporting Lisbon winning 4-1 against. Is it Kairat? I wrote down here Kairat. I don't know. But they got that Trincao obviously getting 2 on the day. Quenda is that Quenda? I think he's signed for Chelsea. I want to say, but he's obviously just I think gone back on loan over there, and then he will join I think as of next summer 2026. But yeah, listen, look, good start from them. Obviously we know Ruben Amorim gone and Gyökeres obviously gone as well. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one for them, man. But this is how the table looks after the first round of fixtures. So in the elimination spots, we have got Marseille, Newcastle, Villarreal, Chelsea, PSV, Ajax, Athletic Bilbao, Napoli, Girat, Monaco, Galatasaray, and Atalanta. And then obviously you can see in the playoff rounds, obviously quite a few teams already got their 3 points, but I guess just due to goal difference. You got City, Qarabag, Liverpool, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Tottenham, Dortmund, Juve, Leverkusen, Bodo, Glimt, Copenhagen, Slavia Prague, Olympiacos, Pafos, Atletico Madrid, and Benfica. And currently occupying the top 8 automatic slots into the last 16 is Frankfurt, PSG, Club Brugge, Sporting Lisbon, Union SG, Bayern, Arsenal, and Inter Milan. Now, one thing I did hear is that in regards to Liverpool was on a slot might be looking to like rotate. And I think quite a lot of teams might potentially start doing that. Obviously, with certain games against certain teams, you might do that anyway. But you know, usually with like Champions League, you save, regardless of who you're playing, you usually try and save your best players for that game or yeah, like during the week. So I think that's going to start changing moving forward, that, you know, teams are not going to be that bothered. As long as you can qualify in the top 8, I think that's how teams are going to just kind of look at it now, as opposed to last season. It was like, oh, Liverpool finish first, get PSG. Do you get what I'm saying? And then you get knocked out by PSG, who then go on to kind of win it. So yeah, I said it last season, it didn't make no difference, but nobody wanted to listen. We're now here. I don't think it makes much difference, to be honest with you. I actually don't even think it makes that much difference if you get to the playoff round. Yes, it adds a game, but I also don't think it's going to be that much different, to be honest. I mean, PSG played in the playoff round against Stuttgart. I remember that game. So, you know, is it going to make that much of a difference? I don't really think so, man. So, listen, man, we'll wait and see. But listen, it's been a good little intro for the Champions League thus far. Let me know your thoughts after the first round of fixtures. Who are you feeling at the moment? Who do you think, you know what, they're looking pretty good? You tip them to go far in the tournament and stuff like that. Who do you think might surprise people? Who do you think is going to get eliminated? Which do you think any of the big teams will get eliminated? Let me know your thoughts, of course, in the damn comment section, people. And I'll catch you soon, man, for the next round of fixtures. Peace.